Welcome back, everyone. Episode 19. We've got a special guest with us today. Peter's joining us from Golden State with Mates, a podcast that's come across our screen a couple of times. So I thought I'd reach out to him and get him on board. Quite a knowledgeable guy, if anything, with Golden State that I've been having a look through his videos. So, Peter, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thanks for having me, boys. I run Golden State with Mates, which is a YouTube channel slash podcast covering the Warriors, obviously, and then also site editor at Fansided's Blue Man Hoop, which I've been site editor for this is probably the third full season now, and contributing there and writing about the Warriors for the last 5, 6 years or so.
What do you find, I guess, more enjoyable? Do you like doing your videos more, or do you like writing about the team?
I think it's probably a good balance for me, trying to do both. I think that's probably why I got into the podcast YouTube side of it, is to try and find that balance, and also off doing my own, like that's my own thing, I suppose, as opposed to I'm working for a company when I'm
Yeah.
writing. So I think it's just nice to have that balance, and try and mix things up as the day progresses, I suppose.
Definitely. And how long have you been, I guess, a basketball fan for? What made you, I guess, get into the sport, the
Uh,
Warriors?
Yeah, well, it's a funny story. I'm like absolute sports mad, as a lot of us are in Australia.
Yeah.
But basketball was one sport I never followed growing up as a teenager. So I played cricket and I played Aussie rules football and tennis and soccer and all this different stuff. Basketball, not really.
Hmm.
And then because I was so sports mad, when I turned 18, the first thing I did at midnight when I turned 18 was open up a sports bet account. And
As we all do.
and and unfortunately, the NBA is either very good for making money quickly or very bad for losing money quickly. And I had a couple of mates who were
I'm well
following.
aware.
Yeah, yeah. I had a couple of mates who were following it at the time, and they just got me into it essentially. And then I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to be betting on this every single day, then I probably should know what I'm talking about. And then it kind of just spiraled from there. So that was like, as an 18-year-old kid
Yep.
back 11 years ago now, and people will call me a bandwagoner, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I think anyone getting into a new sport, they're gonna watch the sport for the first time and follow the elite players and the elite teams. And the Warriors, I got in at the right time, just before my 18th birthday in the February, and then
Yep.
they win their first championship in 40 years a few months later, and then just jumped on the bandwagon from there. And we've had some good times over the past 10,
Oh, yeah.
11 years, and now I'm going through kind of the tough days as a fan. Although I do like to think that the 2019-20 season, that was probably the 2022 championship. I felt like I was a legitimate fan at that point because I'd gone through the 19-20 season when we had the worst record in the league.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
That was the true start of, I reckon, backpack Draymond when he did when he
Yeah,
decided to not really play at all.
yeah. If Steph's out, he's not playing,
Yeah,
or not trying, I should say.
yeah. I mean, I think we kind of have similar stories. I probably started watching basketball a year before you, like 2014.
Yeah,
But yeah, similar thing with NBA being on every day. It's pretty hard not to get into.
yeah.
And then like a couple of mates here were obviously big like AI fans, Kobe fans, and stuff like that. So I got into it quite late as well. But again, it's probably taken over, I guess, the top sport for me these days in terms of what I talk about, what I watch. So yeah, it's a pretty good sport to be in. Obviously, it's on every day, so it makes it even better.
Yeah, that's the problem with Australian sport, I suppose, is that, I mean, maybe if you're talking about cricket and you're talking about Test match cricket, that's on 5 days in a row. But aside
Yep.
from that, I don't know. You guys might be NRL fans or AFL fans. It's on over the weekend and that's all.
Yeah, that's
As
it.
as Americans would know, like, with NFL and stuff as well. So to have a sport that you can literally follow every day, and I think a lot of people here who aren't basketball fans in Australia, they kind of ask me about my job and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
they wonder how I get so much content from sport. But it's like, mate, like the games are on every single day, and there's
Literally.
obviously always off court stuff in terms of trade and free agency and stuff like that. So there's never nothing to write about and talk about essentially.
100%. And there's always something, I guess, happening, daily that's
Mm,
making headlines.
yeah,
In terms of the Golden State Warriors, so obviously we're in a season now where we're middle of the pack, kind of treading water to say Butler's gone. I guess, how are you feeling pre-Butler injury? And then what do you think about all of that now?
Yeah. Well, right before it's obviously like the biggest thing for me was the disappointment of the timing of it because hope is the thing that kills you. And before the injury, we're 12-4 in the last 16 games, and we're looking as good
Yeah,
as we have all season. And then for him to go down at that time, just as optimism is starting to rise, I think that's the most frustrating thing about this. And
yeah,
now, even winning a game today against the Timberwolves, which is fairly impressive, like it's still the whole foreground of it is, well, does it really make too much of a difference now? Because without Jimmy, like the team's not going to do anything at the point end of the season. So you're kind of just in this middle ground where, again, like obviously I've got to, it's my job. I've got to follow it. I've got to talk about it and write about it.
yeah,
But it just does it. Everything means a little bit less because without Jimmy, maybe there's some miracle trade here in the next 10 days before the deadline that can change things, and suddenly I can spruik up and be like, oh yeah, we can be a legitimate threat or something like
yeah,
that come playoff time. But unless that happens, we're
yeah.
just holding it. We're just waiting now until Jimmy returns in 12 months' time,
De-
essentially.
Definitely, like I was following the score today. I didn't get a chance to watch, but it felt like a flat win. Like I couldn't get excited about it.
Yeah,
We won by 20, but yeah, it felt very
yeah.
flat.
It was well. I think it was flat, like for multiple reasons. I think obviously the whole Jimmy thing is still very prominent, I suppose. And then obviously with what's happening in Minnesota at the moment, like the
Yeah,
Timberwolves. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch it, the Timberwolves look like a team that just didn't want to be there whatsoever.
yeah,
They just didn't have their minds on basketball, and fair enough too. And I like honestly, I've done a podcast afterwards, and I said on there like I don't think the Warriors played well defensively. I don't think
mhm,
they played great overall, and they still won by 26 against a good team. So that
yeah.
kind of just goes to show you where Minnesota were, I suppose, during that game. We'll see what happens when they play again tomorrow.
Definitely. I think looking at Steve Kerr's press conference after the fact as well, he said, it was very gloomy energy, I
Yeah,
guess, in the stadium. So
yeah, yeah,
a
absolutely.
lot going on there.
Mm.
I think there's a couple of other things we've been talking about in terms of the Warriors. So, like you said, unless there's a magical trade, I feel as though this season's over. But there's also been a bit of chat about letting Steph be free, letting him go to another team, a contender, giving him a chance to win another ring. How do you feel about that kind of conversation coming up?
No, I don't even want to entertain that. I think Ant was doing some recruiting today, basically telling him on the court maybe you should ask out and head somewhere else. But no, I haven't even entertained that in my conversation. I'm sure the Warriors haven't entertained that either.
Yeah,
Maybe the only chance it would happen is if Steph goes to them and says, I want to trade. But I think the Warriors are going to try and do all they can to hopefully maximize the rest of Steph's career, including this season.
yep,
Again, hopefully exploring something that they can do before the trade deadline. But yeah, to me, it's not, put it this way, it's not something I've wrote about. I had a colleague who wrote about it and saying,
yep,
well, if Steph wants to win a fifth championship, the only way it happens if it goes elsewhere and it doesn't happen at the Warriors,
yep.
but it's not something I've spoke about. It's not something I've wrote about. Essentially, it's just not even in my thinking.
Definitely. I think it feels quite strange even trying to imagine Steph in another
Yeah,
jersey. I think the only team I would love if it did happen would be the Spurs. Him with Wemby, they've got a lot of young assets, players that the Warriors can rebuild, quite
yeah,
quickly.
yeah, yeah.
I'd love, he's got 2 decent years left in him next to Wemby. That could be something fun for just pure basketball fans. But as a Warriors fan, no chance.
Yeah, it'd be interesting with the Spurs. I don't know how they would work that out with having De'Aaron Fox, Castle, and Harper already.
Exactly.
But if Steph Curry's available and you can get him, then you're
Yeah,
taking him over those three guys, at least still at this point. And then if you're the Warriors, yeah, like I was listening to Bill Simmons earlier today, and they were talking about Giannis going to the Spurs, and could the Bucks get Dylan Harper
yep,
in that kind of trade, and a similar thing for the Warriors. If Steph was to request out, then there's probably worse places he could go from a Golden State perspective to try and get maximum value back, I guess. But I mean,
definitely.
even talking about this, I'm about to vomit. I need to go to the
Actually,
toilet.
seeing.
I don't want to talk about this.
It's actually a really interesting time in the league though, because like you speak about these big guys like Giannis, Steph, whatever trade scenarios, but there's barely like five teams that can actually give you a decent package. No one
Mm.
really is out. Like even OKC, what are they giving you? J Dub and what Case and Wallace and a couple of like. There's
I'm,
nothing really out there.
Yeah, there'd only be a select few players that even give Jade up for. And the problem is like even like OKC have a bunch of picks still to come,
Yep.
but if it's their own, then they're what are they going to convey into pick 30? Like
Yeah.
it's not really doing anything for me. So unless it's another team's pick, what am I doing with that? And the same can be said for a team like the Spurs. Like Wemby's going to be there for the next decade. So if you give me your picks, what does that do for me? It's going to be a pick in the 20s.
Yep.
And then the same can be said for the Rockets and a couple other these teams that have been linked to, a potential Giannis trade or a big name like that. So yeah, you're
Exactly.
right.
Yeah, I think and then going towards Kaminga, I know there's you've already spoken a bit about this in terms of Michael Porter Jr., Trey Murphy options. With Butler injured now, do you see I guess there's two kind of avenues right now. You can either see Kaminga staying for the season and you kind of try to build his value back up, give him minutes, or do you still pull the trigger on a trade and hope you can get into like the second round of the playoffs within Michael Porter?
If you're getting a legitimate upgrade, then yes. Like if you're trading Kaminga and a pick for Michael Porter, a couple of picks for Michael Porter or Trey Murphy, who are just obviously better players than Jonathan Kaminga, then I'm still all for that because those guys are both under contract for next season. You'll get Jimmy back. Again, maybe you raise your ceiling to winning a playoff series or, at least being pesky in a first round matchup. I don't know, cool. But I think if it's just to like move on from the whole Kaminga thing, I think there's a lot of Warrior fans that want the team just to move on from the whole
Yeah,
Kaminga experience. But I'm still probably of the belief of like you don't necessarily need to do it just for the sake of doing it. Like a guy like DeMar DeRozan has been linked to the
yeah,
Warriors, in the
that's
trade. It's like, what does that do for me, really? Like, what does that honestly do for me? Or even like I saw Sam Amick of the Athletic report on Friday, the Warriors have interest in Miles Bridges, and I'm assuming Kuminga would be going out in a Miles Bridges trade. I'm just like, wouldn't I like Jimmy? If Jimmy was still healthy and available, then and you could get a slight upgrade, and you thought Miles Bridges was a slight upgrade, whatever.
yeah,
But now that Jimmy's out, what's Miles Bridges ain't doing anything for you without Jimmy Butler. So what's the point?
yeah,
Like you might as well give Jonathan Kuminga 2 3 months to go and play 30 minutes a night to try and rebuild his trade value and then re-explore things in the summer. I suppose
yeah,
so if you're getting a genuine upgrade, sure, but
yeah,
don't do it just for the sake of doing it. I don't think.
definitely. And I think in terms of genuine upgrades, it's Michael Porter or Trey Murphy. I don't see anyone else, nor should anyone see anyone else. I think that isn't.
Giannis.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, that's
I'm on the Giannis train right now. After
oh,
I watched Denver Milwaukee on or Saturday our time, and I was
that
just
was
watching it, and it just before he even got injured, and I'm just watching that game, thinking this guy does not even want to be there,
well,
and
he
so
took five shots.
yeah,
How,
it's
that's
not pretty.
$10 million a shot for that game. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't think he wants to be there. And by the sounds of it, I think we're not going to see too many trades in the next 10 days until we get some kind of resolution here. Until Giannis either gets traded or teams get a sense 24 hours out before the deadline that hey, Milwaukee are definitely holding on to this guy. Like I don't think we're going to see any trades in the next, let's say, 9 days. Anyway.
Shams is going to be busy on that last
Yeah,
day.
I honestly think he will be because yeah, I just don't until like it's a big domino that's now hanging over the whole trade deadline is Giannis. So we'll wait and
Definitely.
see. I'd still probably be surprised if he got traded, but as I said on my podcast earlier today, we're nearing the 12-month mark with Luka getting traded, and after that happen, anything's possible in the league.
Oh yeah, yeah. Literally anything's possible.
Yeah.
Going back to your Kaminga for Bridges trade. Not gonna lie, I would love to see Lamelo with Kaminga and Con and Miller there. Those guys would be flying up and down the court, throwing lobs to each other for fun.
I mean, Charlotte, I don't mind watching Charlotte. Charlotte are a good, young, fun team, but are they ever going to get out of, being the 10, 11 seed, anything like that? Like, they've been there forever. I don't know. Like, that feels, you mentioned all those players. I'm like, cool, yeah, they'll be fun to watch, athletic, blah, blah, blah. I was like, are you going to be more than a playing team?
Probably not.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
they're
For
not
me,
winning anything, but they're going to
yeah.
be entertaining. Right? I think that it's Derby's favorite team to watch on League Pass. So.
They will when they trade for Curry.
They're going to get Seth back, are they? He's out with sciatica.
You gotta
Charlotte can
you
have him
gotta
back.
you gotta get the whole family in their organization.
Yeah,
So Steph's the only one left.
yeah, yeah. Very fair.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, with the Kuminga trade, I guess looming, the Giannis trade, I did see a post recently about trying to get LeBron and Giannis next
Oh
year
yeah.
at the War. I mean, I feel as though a lot of this is just writing to write kind of situation, try to get some
Mm.
clicks. But I mean, I've been saying to Darby for ever since they played in the US team together, Steph and LeBron. I'm like, just give me one season of them together. Like, as a pure basketball fan. There's nothing more that I want than them two on the same court, in the same
Yeah,
colors.
yeah. I honestly, I wouldn't mind it either, just from that standpoint. Like, even if the Warriors flipped Jimmy for LeBron right now before the deadline, like, I don't think Steph and LeBron now at this point could do anything in terms of they're not beating Denver or OKC or anything like
No,
that. But would it be a fun watch? Yes, it would be. Like, and so
definitely.
from the entertainment standpoint, I could get around that. But yeah, Jake Fisher reported that the other day with the whole, can they trade for Giannis and sign LeBron,
Yeah.
and Joe Lacob as owner has big hopes and dreams, and it does sound pretty wild that. I
Yeah.
guess I guess if LeBron's willing to come on a minimum contract, then any team can sign him, and obviously there's going to be a bunch of teams going after Giannis. So
Mhm.
yeah, that feels like it's very unrealistic. If they get one of them, they're probably doing well, but
Yep.
maybe Joe Lacob's got something up his sleeve.
I mean, I think for Giannis, we'd probably have to give up every pick, right? Like,
Mm.
it's all the young guys plus the picks plus Jimmy at this stage to even try to get him. So,
Yeah, there's it's a bit weird because like the Warriors now this Jimmy injury and now the fact that the Warriors, by the sound of it, don't want to trade him, but I mean, technically they could. And so you've got him and you've got Kuminga, and you throw Buddy Hield in there, and even if you need to throw Moses Moody in there, pods like
yep,
everyone's available aside from Steph essentially, and so they've got like $100 million to
exactly.
play with, and they've got all their picks essentially aside from the 2030 one that's owed 20 or 30 to Washington, but
Yep.
like they've kind of got all these avenues to be able to go and do something, but whether they do something or not is a whole different story. And even in a situation like Giannis, I don't think Draymond and Giannis really work together, at least offensively. Defensively,
No.
but I don't think Draymond and Giannis work together. So does that mean you've got to trade Draymond in a different deal? I don't know.
Yeah.
Feels like that's not going to happen in the next 10 days. That's something potentially for the offseason.
But the thing is, I don't. Steph and Draymond are a package as well, right? Like, you can't really trade Dre. I don't think Steph will sign off on it unless Draymond signs off on it. If you know what I mean. Like, if Dre's like, all right, Steph, like, obviously you're still an all-star starter, and I'm holding you back. Let them trade me. Go win another fifth ring. But I just don't see that happening. The other thing as well with Giannis and giving the Warriors giving them the Bucks our picks. When you get Giannis, you're still going to be a playoff contender every year. So how
Yeah.
valuable do those picks even become? Like,
Well, I was actually thinking about that because obviously Giannis strained his calf the other day. It's gonna be
yeah,
out 4 to 6 weeks. He's now, I think this might be his third soft tissue injury
yep,
this season alone. Do you start looking at it as like if you're Milwaukee and you're looking at what you can get back, and the Warriors being able to give up their 2032 pick, and even if we say 2030 as well, like they can obviously again 20 to 30 is conveyed to Washington, but
hmm
you're looking that far in advance.
yep,
Like that's 6 years time. Giannis will be 37, 38.
exactly, yep.
Do we, honestly, this is a broader question. This doesn't have anything to do with the Warriors necessarily, but do we think, like, have we seen as enough injury concerns for Giannis to now question whether or not this guy's still going to be an elite player in his late 30s? Because we've seen it with LeBron, we've seen it with Steph
Yep.
be still unbelievable in their late 30s, but that's still kind of the anomaly.
Definitely.
That's not the use. So
Yeah.
if you're the Bucks and you're looking at Golden State's 2032 pick, are we banking that one, Giannis is still there, and two, that he's leading a playoff team? Because he's in Milwaukee right now and he ain't leading a playoff team,
No.
31. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a genuine question to have.
I think the other thing is, obviously when you trade Giannis, you tank, right? So the Bucks will, be 10 to 15 seed for the next 6 years, like you say, when you do get to that 2032 timeline.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when they start their rebuild again. And I think Steph, LeBron, KD are three anomalies for sure. A lot of these records are probably going to stand by them purely because no one can, you know, stay healthy that long, play that
Yeah.
many minutes, play that many games. These guys have worked on their bodies to, outlast the whole season plus 30 playoff games every year. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun. Any other trades that you see happening in the league that might move the needle for some teams, but I mean, there's not really a lot out there, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony Davis is still a little bit interesting. Like, he's a big name, obviously, and depending on, I mean, he could go like Toronto are weird to me right now because they're actually playing pretty good basketball and the East is fairly weak.
Yeah.
And they're like fourth in the East or whatever. It's like, well, if they get Anthony Davis, none of us really look at Toronto and think, oh yeah, like that's a genuine Eastern Conference Finals team.
No.
But like, it's also the East. Like the Knicks are looking a little bit average at the moment, and like the Cavs have had a pretty down season. Detroit still young, a little bit of got some playoff experience last season, but still a little bit inexperienced.
Yep.
Like, feels like a year where if I'm Toronto, I'm like, if I get Anthony Davis, suddenly I could wind up in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then who knows what can happen from there. So,
Yep.
especially, and even a team like Atlanta, which, I don't necessarily love Atlanta, but if they were to get Anthony Davis, like, all you need is, I mean, it sounds easy on paper to say, oh, all you need from him is 2 months of healthy basketball. I mean, when's the last time Anthony Davis did that? It's easier said than
The
done.
bubble
But
championship, probably.
yeah, but who knows? Who knows? So I feel like he's still, because yes, he obviously hasn't played a whole lot in the last 12 months since being in Dallas, but I think we forget how good a player he can be and just how productive he can be. So that's probably the one, and then we can add the Ja Morant conversation. I'm not sure he's necessarily going to go anywhere where he's making a huge difference. Like, I've seen the Pelicans linked to him. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Like, they're out of the race already. They've won
Yeah, they're
10
done.
games all season, although they beat San Antonio today in San Antonio, which is one of the upsets of the season. But like, what are they doing with Ja Morant?
Yeah.
Really, I don't even know why they would be chasing him. I don't know why Ja Morant would necessarily want to go there. Not that he gets a choice in the matter, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. They're probably unless I'm missing anyone else, they're probably the two big names, I
Yeah.
suppose, along with Giannis. And then for some reason, Kuminga gets all this buzz despite not really doing much in his career, but we're following it anyway.
I think the only reason Kaminga gets the buzz is because he's on the team with Steph Curry, right? Like,
Yeah, no, that's a big
otherwise,
part of it. Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
Anthony Davis stuff is quite interesting because you pop him on any Eastern Conference team, and like you said, they arguably become the favorite as long as he's healthy. I don't really like the fit with Toronto because I assume they'd probably have to give up what Barrett, Pirtle,
yeah,
or a Pirtle quickly kind of thing, and I
yeah.
don't think an Ingram, Barnes, AD like that's yuck.
It doesn't sound great on paper, but I mean they're like fourth at the moment already, and it's the
Yeah,
East, so
yeah,
yeah,
They,
like
they,
yeah. Oh, I think
oh,
that. Oh, what was that?
dropped out.
Yeah, what was that?
They beat the Thunder today.
Yeah, they did.
yeah, wow,
And then I mean, I like Atlanta. I don't know. I have some affinity with Atlanta and the Pels as like my fun teams that I really want to do well, but they never do. But I really like the Atlanta fit. I think um, with Walker, Daniels, AD, but that becomes a big defensive juggernaut essentially. And then if Jalen Johnson and your fringe players can give you enough points. You're right there. You're definitely right there.
I think they might go. They might try and go down the Giannis road first, and then AD might be a backup plan kind of thing because it doesn't sound like you're necessarily going to have to give up a whole lot
Yep.
for Anthony Davis.
Yep.
And with his injury concerns and stuff at the moment, I don't know, just chuck one first round pick out there to Dallas, and they might let you take him off their hands, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting for a lot of teams, especially when a player like Giannis is available, right? You're kind of in this limbo across the
Mm.
league where you want to tank, you want to win, you want to trade, but no one's pulling a move.
Well,
Like,
mate, what Warriors have been in limbo from because of Giannis for 5 years.
yeah.
It's set like they've been. Mate, I saw an article the other day from 2019. It's 7 years ago, and they're like Warriors are after Giannis. Like we've been doing this thing for 7 years. They won a championship in the meantime, and honestly, like they haven't. Again, they've still got all their picks. They don't usually give up their picks. Even
No.
when they acquired Jimmy this time 12 months ago, they gave up one top 10 protected pick for Jimmy Butler.
I
It's not
think we
like they
got lucky
unloaded
with
for him.
Jimmy though, because of he wanted out. Like if
Yeah, yeah. He
Giannis
drove
goes,
his
hey,
value down. Yeah.
yeah, I would love for Giannis to just come out and be like, send me to the Warriors. That would that would be day made.
At this point, it'd be like, can Giannis actually come out and just to request a trade in general? Because I feel like he's actually handcuffing the entire league by playing this game where he clearly, I think, behind the scenes probably wants out, but he won't say it publicly because he doesn't want to become the enemy in Milwaukee, and he wants to like end things and leave as
Mm.
the franchise traded me, and that was kind of what happened. Even though we all know behind the scenes that he's probably going to be the one pushing it. So
Definitely. I mean, yeah, we've had this conversation before, but for us, like even as just a normal, even a general fan, he's already won an MVP. Given them a chip. Like I think he's spent what 13 years there now. I think
yeah,
he's in every right to be like, guys, I think this is the end of the road. There's not
mm,
enough talent around me. Let me go where I want to go.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, if that's Golden State, sure, but otherwise, I think Knicks have been pushed so hard by him. I mean,
mm,
they were the only ones who could, I think, got a meeting with him, or he was only interested in at the start of the season. So
yeah.
yeah, it makes it interesting. I think with the Knicks struggling as well, I think they might get a bit desperate and try to make a few moves. Brunson calling play only meetings, like that org's in a bit of limbo as well, like the whole league.
Yeah, ooh, like I think a lot of it is probably going to come down to where Giannis wants to go, or if he gives Milwaukee a small group of teams or something like that. I don't see him like my problem with Atlanta, like a team like that. Does Giannis really want to stay in Atlanta long term? And because he's on an expiring contract next season, there's that threat of 2027 for agency. I just don't see a team trading for him unless they get an assurance from him that he's going to sign an extension. And if they don't get that, I don't see them giving up the value to Milwaukee to make a deal happen. Which is exactly why I like the Knicks. If
Hmm.
you're putting trade packages together, the Knicks aren't even in the top 20 in the league. Because they don't
Yeah.
have their picks. They gave up 5 firsts for Mikal Bridges. Like
Yeah.
they got no picks, and so from a trade package standpoint, they should be way out of it. But if New York's the only place that Giannis
Yeah.
wants to go, and he tells literally every other team, "I'm not signing, I'm not re-signing with you. I'm not signing an extension," then they're going to back off, and all of a sudden the Knicks come in with his cat and a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Milwaukee are like, well, either this or we lose Giannis in a year in free agency. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think where he wants to go is going to play a big factor in this.
How about this though? So take your mind back a couple of years, well, 6, 7 years now, when Kawhi was available for one
Yeah,
year rental, right? Do
yeah.
you see a team in the league at the moment where even if Giannis goes, "Hey guys, I'm only here for a year," that catapults them straight into a championship contender?
Yeah, there'd be a bunch of teams. My issue with that is that Kawhi quit on the Spurs. Like he just stopped playing for them, didn't he? Like
I
so.
mean, Giannis pretty much hasn't he?
Well,
Like
yeah,
he's
okay. Well, but he's
quite
still he's
quitting.
still out there on the floor, and technically he hasn't requested a trade yet because again, I just don't think he wants to. He doesn't want to be seen as the villain. And if you look at that trade from a Toronto perspective, I'm trying to remember that they got who they gave up. They gave up DeMar DeRozan,
Yep.
who was like a good player at the time, but like whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Can someone get it up for me? Is DeRozan and was it Pirtle? Was it Pirtle in his
Hurdle?
first stint in Toronto?
Yeah, I think it was Purtle.
Hurdle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
it's and was there? I don't think there was a pick involved, was there?
I think there might have been one pick
Maybe
involved.
maybe one pick.
Yeah.
But like essentially, it's almost like the Jimmy Butler trade
Yeah.
last year,
Yeah.
where it's like you're getting this guy at a very cheap rate for his talent,
Hmm.
and so from that perspective, like, if Giannis is going to cost something like that, then sure. But I just don't see Milwaukee doing a trade where they're taking back that kind of deal that the
Yep.
Spurs did at that time. So that's kind of where it's a little bit different for me.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if I'm Giannis, you probably want to stay East, right? Like, as
Mm,
much as you'd like him, on the Spurs or the Warriors or whoever in the West, the road's much easier in the East.
yeah, yeah. If you could go to a team like Atlanta or yeah, I'm trying because a lot of the teams that have been linked to kind of West teams, but you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Like the East is, I mean, we were just talking about Toronto. It's like they get Anthony Davis. Who knows? They could be in the
Yeah.
NBA freaking finals
Yeah.
or something like that. So yeah, like I stick in the East. I reckon if I was Giannis. But
Yep.
again, as from a Warrior fan's perspective, I hope he doesn't hold that opinion.
No, I mean, and there was also early chatter around Miami as well. But again, I don't feel Giannis really moves the needle with Miami because I assume you still like Bam and Giannis. How does that work? You lose Hero probably in that deal. Like, yeah,
Well, Bill Simmons proposed, I think, that Bam would actually go out in that trade.
yeah.
Like, so it'd be Bam out and Giannis in. And
He might as
again,
well stay in Milwaukee.
yeah, like I don't think that team's great necessarily.
No.
But again, if it's the East, then which just makes the whole Milwaukee scenario even worse. Like they're 8 games below 500 or whatever, and 11th in the Eastern Conference in a honestly a joke of a conference, it must be
Y-
said.
I mean, yeah, there's like what three teams that are actually any good that you can, I guess, sort of trust to perform
Yeah.
under the big stage. And then I guess Kaminga for Wiggins as well has been thrown out
Mm.
there, right? Pretty much a straight swap, really, with Wiggs coming back, but. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I love Wiggs, like
Mm.
especially when in that 2022 run, him dunking on Luca. I got lost in a couple of videos yesterday of Wiggs 2022 run, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that's in like that's. I think Wiggins is still worse than Trey Murphy or Michael Porter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
It falls somewhere in between the MPJ trade and then the doing a deal for the sake of a deal in terms of
DeRozan.
DeMar DeRozan and
Yeah,
Miles Bridges kind of thing. I think you'd probably have to give up a pick to Miami, maybe just the 2026 one. So you hope
yeah,
they make the playoffs and it's a pick outside the lottery again. Uh, it would like I think it's very close to being just making a trade for the sake of making a trade. But because Wiggs has the history, at
mm,
least it's a known quantity.
yep,
Like Miles Bridges, I was like looking at the numbers today, and I'm like, the dude's a 45% career, from the field, like not great. He's like
yeah,
34% from three. He's never played in a playoff game. How do we know this dude is actually like impacts winning to any degree? Now, maybe you could say, oh, he's been in Charlotte his whole
yeah,
career, and they've
exactly.
just been a basket case, so it's
Yeah,
blaming on the team. But like, you're asking me to guess on whether Miles Bridges can be an impactful piece to a playoff team. At
yep,
least Andrew Wiggins, and particularly, specifically for the Warriors, you know what you're getting. You know
yep,
you're going to get a guy who comes in, he's going to play 30 minutes a night, he's going to be your primary point of attack defender, he's going to average 15 to 18 points and shoot high 30s from three.
yep,
Okay? Is it fun and sexy? No, not really. But it's a known quantity, and so if that's all they can do before the trade deadline, like I'm not going to be mad about it. I
yep.
love Wicks for what he did in 2022, so he's also got that emotional element to
Yeah,
the
of
fan base
course.
as well, I suppose.
Yep. And I think Wiggs probably fits a lot better next to Jimmy as well, I'd say, if
Oh
you
yeah,
projecting into the future for next season with a healthy Jimmy Butler.
yeah. No, I would have liked if Jimmy was still available. I would have loved Andrew Wiggins if there was no dream trade out there for Giannis or for Trey Murphy. I would even almost go as far to say I'd probably with Jimmy. I probably would have. I'd prefer Wiggs over MPJ maybe if there was a stark contrast in
Yep.
how many picks I had to give up.
Yep.
Like I'd rather give up the one 2026 pick that's probably going to be outside the lottery for Wiggs than I would like two future firsts down the road for Michael
Yeah.
Porter Jr. when you're also
Agreed.
paying him 40 million a year.
Yep.
So but that's with Jimmy Butler available, and unfortunately that's not the case anymore.
Yeah. I think with I think the biggest concern for the Warriors has been a second scorer, right? Like,
Mm.
you know, Steph, especially when it comes to the playoffs, Steph will get you. You probably only need a 25-ish in a playoffs, right, from your star player to
Mm.
really make some noise. But the next guy can't be scoring 8 points. Like, you need that next guy to be at 20, if not, like you said, with the Wiggins, 17, 18 points,
Yeah.
which he gave us. I think Melton and Horford
Mm.
look really, really good in that Warriors system.
Yeah.
Bit of a kind of a Jordan Poole, Otto Porter 2022 vibe from
Mm.
both of those guys coming off the bench for us. So, yeah, I love
Probably
those
stop.
guys
Probably
in
stop now because you make me more depressed about this series. Because
there.
again, this is the exact thing I said at the start. Like Melton looks great, Horford looks great. Like team was actually like Moody and Pods were playing a bit better. You got
Yep.
this Kaminga salary you can go and use with a pick or two and actually get another massive upgrade. And suddenly you're like you might be able to make some noise in the playoffs. And
Yep.
then dude lands awkwardly on his leg, and that's just completely ruined. So yeah,
That's the
sad.
season over. But yeah, I mean, well, it's all up in the air at the moment. What, 1 week left to the trade deadline.
Mm.
Depends what we get, what we see, what teams are actually willing to do. I saw a tweet the other day where it's like, oh, this trade deadline's been quiet, and this guy's whipped out the numbers of all the trades that happened in like week 1, week 2, week 3, and pretty
Yeah,
much week 4 has been like 20 plus trades.
yeah, yeah,
So you have to wait until that last week where you see all the big moves happening.
yeah.
And I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be fun.
Mm, yeah, I mean, it always is like this is all it's happens in every sport. It's part of negotiations. You don't come to the table with your best offer straight away. It's just a gradual build up, I suppose, and we'll wait and see what happens. It's like again, I'm a big AFL fan, so we have 3 weeks of trade period at the end of the year, and nothing gets done until the final 24 hours. It's just what happens in every sport at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it's a bit frustrating with all the speculation and rumors that fly back and forth, but it also makes great content for me and you guys and everyone else out there, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're probably going to be slapping it all as far as we can take it for the rest of the week, right?
That's
Until
it.
hopefully we hit on something.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, hopefully we do see the Warriors make a move. Hopefully it's a big move. Again, I think it'll still be entertaining if we can get a Trey or MPJ make it to the second round. I've still adamant, and I've said to Darby that we would have beaten the T-Wolves with a healthy Steph last season, and that could have been anything once you make the finals. So yeah, hopefully we get something happening with us.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. Again, it's unless there's something massive out there, like if it really at this point, it's probably got to be Trey Murphy or Giannis, and anything less than that.
Yep.
It's again, it's just a move for you make a trade now and then you hope maybe you win a playoff series, but you're not really going to make any more noise than that, and then you wait and see, and hopefully Jimmy comes back because that's the other big factor is Jimmy was playing great basketball before he got injured, which again is another frustrating element of this.
Yep.
Leading that second unit with Melton and Horford, like you spoke about, was
Yep.
starting to become one of the best like bench units in the league kind of thing, or at least non Steph minutes were starting to look pretty good.
Definitely. Yep.
And so now, fingers crossed that Jimmy can return anywhere near that kind of player. I suppose what Melton's been able to do over the past few weeks, coming off his ACL, maybe adds a little bit of optimism to that.
Definitely.
He's almost like I don't know if you guys are much on Twitter kind of thing on social media, but people saying today and almost kind of with them that Melton's probably the second best player on this team right now
I
over
mean,
Draymond.
oh
Like,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Draymond hasn't shown. I mean, obviously very different players, but
Mm.
yeah, you could almost argue that. But I think the big other concern now is if Melton playing so well, he's gonna want to get paid,
Oh yeah, he's
right?
gone.
So he's yeah.
Unless,
See,
well, that's actually I've spoken about this a fair bit. It's actually an underrated element of what they do before the trade deadline because if they do decide to, I don't know, trade Kaminga for an expiring contract and they don't really care what they get back, and
mm,
really the primary goal would be to maybe open up some cap space to say, all
yep,
right, now we've got access to, let's say, the full non-taxpayer middle-level exception, which is going to be around like 15 mil a
yep,
year. Does that give you enough to say D'Anthony Melton here's, I think it'd be like 4 years, 60,
60
70
mil.
million,
Yeah.
something like that. It's like, is that enough based on, I would like to think it would be,
Surely
but then I
Melton's
think,
not getting paid more than that anywhere else.
I
You
mean,
reckon?
what he's been doing the last couple of weeks, like, I don't know,
Oh,
that's at least 15. I don't know if you guys saw the stat today. He's got the best plus minus in the entire league over the last month. There's a
Yeah.
stat
wow.
for you. Best plus minus in the entire league. He's like plus 120 or something in the last month.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's
mean, I guess if you're trying to think of a player comparison, Dyson Daniels got a 4-year 100 mil deal, right?
mm,
Um, that's probably what I'd kind of compare Melton to. I think he's probably bit better offensively, Melton, but
yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah,
it's not a bad comp. Yeah, I would say with the injury concerns,
yeah,
yeah, you'd obviously shave some off that. But yeah, like if Dyson's getting 25 mil a year, could Melton push 20 a year again based on what he's been doing the last couple of weeks? Maybe, but
mm,
hopefully, he'd also maybe potentially take a discount to stay with the Warriors, and so maybe if you can open up enough space where
yeah,
again, taxpayer, non-taxpayer, middle-level exception around 15 mil a year or whatever, maybe
yeah.
that's enough for him.
And I think the relationship with the org and Melton's been quite good because I think they were quite open with him when they traded him, but pretty
Yeah,
much being like, "We'll get you back here
yeah,
once you're all back healthy and stuff, and then we'll rehab you or whatnot." So
yeah,
at least the relationship on the surface is quite good, so it gives you a bit of hope.
yeah.
And again, I reckon if he I mean, with his plus minus for the last month, he might have been a 6-man contender if he would have played from the start of the season.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I spoke about that. I've wrote about that. If he was, I mean, if he was ready to go start of the season, the Warriors probably wouldn't have got him on a minimum contract or essentially that to begin with. So, I mean, we can't really talk about it too much. But
yeah,
yeah, he's been playing in the last few weeks like a six-man of the year contender. Probably one of the best bench guards in the league right
yeah,
now, and one of the best value contracts in the league right now, outside of rookie deals, I suppose.
yeah.
To have a guy who can make the argument is the second best player in your team, and he's making $3.1 million, and he's not on his rookie contract or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, that's kind of extraordinary. It's also kind of sad. It must be said
I mean, yeah.
that's an actual argument to be made, but that's probably the state of the Warriors right now,
And I
unfortunately.
mean, and it goes back to just being frustrated that you have a guy like that outperforming his contract, and your real second best player gets injured. So
Yeah, I mean, you made the comp to like Horford, Melton, to who'd you say, Otto Porter,
yeah,
and
and Paul,
yeah, and you had those guys on those deals,
yeah,
and that's kind of the stuff you need to win a championship. Is like you need guys that are significantly outplaying their deals,
yeah,
and happens every year in the league, right?
hmm
Like
we
contenders
saw it
get
last year.
yeah,
None of those
yeah.
guys were paid. So
Yeah, well, that's true.
yeah,
I mean, a little bit different. Like, I suppose it's a little bit different when they're on their
yeah,
rookie deals. But even like I think Caruso was on still. He got paid. He's just got paid recently in the
yeah,
last year. But before that, he was on like 10 mil a year or whatever.
hmm
And then a guy like
Isaiah
Otto Porter
Joe,
Jr.
yeah,
Yeah, well, a guy like OPJ in 2022. I mean, the last 6 years of his career, he only had 1 year where he was healthy, and the Warriors took advantage of that and won a title. So
yeah,
it's just the kind of BS luck that you need, essentially, and good management, I suppose. Rick Celebrini and the Warriors medical staff probably deserve some credit for that,
yeah.
but just makes the Jimmy injury all the more frustrating.
It's quite sad. I was pretty upset that day. I was messaging Darby, and I was just like, I'm so sad right now.
Yeah,
Blow it
I
up, blow it
and
up.
the way I suppose for us here in Australia, like it came out at night as well. So I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing that a lot of Americans would have woke up to the news
Yeah.
as kind of ruined my night's sleep because we found out before going to sleep. Like I played social league basketball, got
Yeah.
home literally right on 7 o'clock and walked through the door and then got the notification from Shams and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
we kind of knew when he hobbled off that was probably going to be
yeah.
torn ACL, but still to get the confirmation was yeah, brutal.
It did look pretty bad when he did it, and yeah, the way I mean, I think Quinton Post was next to him or right near him, and he had his hands on his head, like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
he knew straight away. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I mean that's the state of the Warriors at the moment, and we're gonna fingers crossed. Hopefully, the front office does something, help Steph out. It's still fun to watch Steph, I guess, run around and shoot his three. So at least we'll be entertained for the last couple 3 months and probably get a playing game. I guess. I think we're far enough ahead to get a playing game right.
We better face Memphis again or something in a playing game. That'll be always fun. Yes.
It's not the same without Dylan Brooks there, though. So.
True. I don't know. Maybe if we say Phoenix, we actually genuine chance. We could say Phoenix in a playing game and see Dylan
Yeah.
Brooks again. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, oh man, like I think with having Butler, just apart from OKC and Denver, I think we were right there in that rest of the pack with a
Yeah.
healthy Jimmy. Like Lakers, Houston, we've had their number for years now. They just can't seem to beat us. So, but again,
Yeah.
like Lakers were right there. We're just right there with all that middling pack, and
Yeah.
just it sucks.
Man, no, I totally agree. Like I could have seen us. I mean, if you look at again the record since Jimmy arrived, well, I think the Warriors were 46-22. If you
Yeah.
go back to when Jimmy arrived, like 700 win team in the regular season. Yes, had their ups and downs start this season, but again 12-4 in their 16 before
Yeah.
this injury, and yeah, unfortunately, any chance they did have, even if it was just a puncher's shot to take out Denver or OKC, or
Yep.
even just make like the West Finals or something like that, and just give Steph and Jimmy a chance, because you give Steph and Jimmy and Draymond's a noted playoff performer. If you gave those guys a shot, and I think that's all Steph wants.
Yep.
Is like just put me in position where I just got some decent guys around me to get me to the conference semifinals or the conference finals.
Yep.
Just give me a shot, and it's
Exactly.
Steph Curry. We'll see what he could have done. And again, the same you mentioned before in terms of last season. Like, yeah, if Steph doesn't go down with a hamstring, like,
Yeah.
genuine chance,
We're right there.
you win that series. So.
And we've seen him do it in 22 alone, essentially,
Yeah.
right? Like Wiggins,
Yeah.
his second best player. Clay coming, Clay being like Clay had good games. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
Wiggs was his second best player.
Yeah.
And like he said, he gets a shot. He's more than likely going to be the best player on the court most of the time in those series. I mean, you could argue here and there, but
Well, yeah, he could. I would say like if you were doing a ranking right now, he'd probably be bottom end of the top 10, maybe be around that 9 to 8 to 12 mark, wherever you want to put him. I mean,
Yep.
you can have your own opinion, but on any given night, on any in any given series, can he be the best player in the world still? Yes. Like, look at those two games in San Antonio early in the season going up against Wemby, and Wemby was good, but Steph was the guy in those two matchups. Scored damn near 100 points across those two games, 90 or whatever it was, and gets the job done. So just goes to show you, like, he can still be that guy against anyone in the world.
Definitely. And like I said, I hope we get to see it at least for one series. And stopping Steph for 4 games is hard. Like, you got to stop him for 4 games.
Yeah.
No one's doing that. But yeah, I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
A bit of a tips question. So, champion, MVP, Depoy, most improved, if you keep up to date with that at all.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Well, if we start with championship, I think I started the season with Denver over OKC, and then I thought that didn't look great when OKC obviously had their ridiculous start to the season. But I'm sticking with Denver. If Jokic can come back and be healthy,
Yep.
I mean, the Jokic injuries almost like hurt them to some degree, because now Peyton Watson's like genuinely good, and I don't get how that's happening. Just suddenly out of nowhere. They've obviously got a bench this season with Bruce Brown and Valanciunas, and Tim Hardaway's their best player against Milwaukee the other night, and they still somehow win. So
Yeah.
I think Denver. I mean, that they've got an unbelievably good team, and I think a good enough team to take out the Thunder, to be honest. But they're kind of the top two right now, and then it's probably daylight to third. So if we see Thunder, Nuggets, Western Conference Finals, I would like to think that's probably the NBA Finals, and we should probably be more in tune to that than the NBA Finals as such.
Yeah. Do you see anyone from the East at all making some noise, I guess, or get 6 games in the finals?
I don't see the Knicks or if you look at the top teams of the East, I don't see the Knicks or the Cavs making any significant enough moves to bridge the gap
Yep.
between to bridge the gap between themselves and your Denver and OKC. Like I think the gap's pretty wide there, and I just don't see the moves unless the Knicks get Giannis. Maybe that
Yep.
changes things up. And then the only other one, like Detroit. Detroit to me is still like as good as they've been. It's ridiculous how good they're going, but they still, in terms of being a legit contender, I still put them a year away. Like still feels to me like they're slightly too young to be able to take out a Denver or an OKC. Like I just think one, they're too young, and two, I just don't think they have what it takes to take out those two teams.
Yeah.
The only other team I could suggest is if the Celtics made a move before the deadline for like someone decent, like particularly maybe an upgrade at center, and then if Tatum came back and looked decent, then I don't know, maybe, but even that, like that's a stretch. No, the answer's no. Like I don't think anyone out of the East is
I feel as though the Celtics one is the most intriguing for me because I think if they were horrible this year and they weren't where they are now, Tatum doesn't come back. But now that and again, the East is weak, top four. I think the move that they make is getting Tatum back. I reckon that puts them. I mean, Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard, they've all been there. They've done it.
Yeah.
Great coach. If they can flip, an Anthony Simons for someone, someone else.
I just don't want to go into but if you're making the NBA Finals and you're Boston after the season, after the Tatum injury, if they make the NBA Finals, that's an unbelievable achievement.
Yeah.
But if you're going to get to the NBA Finals and actually give yourself a chance, I'm not sure I necessarily want a Neemias Queta, Luka Garza center combination going up against Jokic or going up against Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. Like I don't really. I need something more. As good as those guys have been, kind of filling in after moving on from Porzingis and Horford, Cornet.
Yep.
Like I need something a bit better than that if I want to have a genuine chance of beating one of those teams in the West.
Definitely. MVP, I guess. Apart from Shea, is there anyone else that's going to get close?
I don't think so. No, I'm trying to, because I think Jokic is the best player in the world, and so I always have like the Jokic Shea conversation, and now he's not going to be obviously Nikola's not going to be eligible to win it. So who's like in
Luka's probably second favorite.
Yeah, I was going to say who's second favorite at the moment.
Yeah,
it feels like I don't.
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's. Yeah, like I'm not even sure what to make of that. Like I suppose Jaylen Brown, you'd say, well, he's a Finals MVP and whatever else, so why can't he be NBA MVP? That still feels a bit weird to me to say that Jaylen Brown's going to win MVP. That's a bit bizarre.
I mean, you could argue that you take Jaylen Brown off that team and they're probably 14th.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Right?
Yeah. If you're talking about the essence of the award and its most valuable player to their team, then yes, Jaylen Brown has an argument. But I feel like they don't judge the award. They don't judge it. It's best player, really. And honest, it can be best player on and if your team is that good, like the Thunder were last season, because that was always my argument for Jokic last season. Yeah, was just like, okay, if we take Shea off the Thunder, I still think like the Thunder would actually be okay, like reasonable.
Definitely.
If you took Jokic off last year's Denver team, they're like, as you just said with Brown and Boston, they're like a bottom 5 team in the conference kind of thing. So that was almost my argument for Jokic. But at the end of the day, I was like, it's best player on the best team and whatever. Like I was fine with Shea, and I assume he's going to win again this season.
Probably, definitely. Most improved, any thoughts?
Well, I mean, we've just mentioned Peyton Watson before. He's making who's the favourite there? I'm not even. Throw some names at me because I haven't really even thought about it too much in recent weeks.
I think Nickeil Alexander-Walker was there. Dyson Daniels is there.
Well, I need Dyson hit a 3 before I can get him in any kind of award. Like I don't know what's happened there.
Dylan Brooks.
I don't
Little
think he can win
Brooks.
most improved, can he?
That'd be so strange because, like, what guys in their late, what is he, late 20s? What guys in their
Yeah,
late 20s are
early.
most improved? That'd be
That's crazy.
bizarre.
But you've
Uh,
got Jalen Johnson's the clear favorite. Sorry, Denny Avdi is the favorite.
oh,
Followed
yeah,
by
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that makes
there's
some sense.
Jalen Johnson, Keontae George, and Walker and Black is your top five. Anthony Black from Orlando.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think if you looked at the Denny numbers, he's going to be an all-star. I think again that probably makes some sense that he's favourite. I'm a real big Jalen Johnson fan as well, so I suppose that is fairly obvious for those two to be up there. I kind of forgot about Denny because he did miss a few games with injury recently,
Yeah,
but he's been exceptional.
awesome. And I guess defensive player of the year is that Wemby's to lose.
Well, is he going to play enough games? What's he? What's he at the moment? I think I think he can miss like another 3 games, maybe,
Yeah, I
or something
think
like that.
three definitely sounds like the number I
I
saw
remember
on
having
the
the. I
inside.
remember thinking about it just when he got injured, and it was
Yeah.
like, how many games is he going to miss? Even when he came back, trying to do the math on it, because I think is Chet still the favorite? Because
Uh,
I
Ch-
remember when Wemby came back, Chet was the favorite, and
Chet
then
is still the favorite.
yeah, and Wemby was like 4 or 5 to 1, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, we all know if he plays 65 games, he's going to get it. It's just whether or not he plays 65 games or not, and if what if he can miss another 3 or 4 games? I think
Yeah.
that's the mark. I don't know. As a getting into basketball as a betting man,
Yeah.
I would probably say steer clear of that
See.
because just
Well,
one if one minor injury out for a week and
yeah.
that's done. Like if I was to bet on it, I'd bet on Wemby, I suppose. But again, I don't want to be watching San Antonio games and every time he falls over, just holding my breath. So.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is though you've seen Rudy Gobert now come into 5 to 1, and I think that's purely based on Chet missing games, Wemby missing games. So then the likelihood of just Rudy being healthy and playing enough games to win the award is kind of where it's been at.
I don't know if you guys saw the D'Anthony Melton move on Rudy Gobert today. That almost instantly took Rudy Gobert out of the MVP conversation for me. That's it. I don't know if you guys saw that highlight, but that was nasty work. And I was like, man, that's a 4-time defensive player of the year you just made that move on. Made him look silly. So that almost takes Rudy out to me, honestly.
Yeah, and I think the one that I forgot about is Rookie of the Year because that race is
Yeah,
closer than a lot
interesting.
of people think.
Yeah. I mean. Kniple's impressive. He
Yeah,
really is, and so is VJ. And then you've got this like Flag had his rough period early where they were just silly, being
playing for
stupid or
point
playing him
guard.
in point
Yeah,
guard and
yeah,
stuff. And now he's really finally coming along, and I think he's into. I'm actually just looking at it now. I think he's a
he's
dollar
a,
17
yeah,
favorite. So the sports better tell you that he's an absolute lock to win it. And unfortunately a lot of this stuff is media driven and the narrative, and I just think Cooper Flag.
yeah.
Who
Writes
who
itself.
who do the NBA want to win that award?
Yeah.
Like really, like they want Cooper Flag. They don't want Con Knipple and Charlotte to win that award. They want the big guy who went number 1 overall. Like
Yeah,
so, I
the
feel
Luca
like
replacement, right? So you
yeah,
got to give it to him.
exactly, yeah. So we planted him in Dallas, so he better win Rookie of the Year.
And then we're speaking about Melton earlier as a possible six-man candidate, but who, in your eyes, is the sixth man at the moment? I think that's probably the toughest award at this stage of the year because I mean, as a six-man, it's so hard to impact all the way through the season. So you do
Yeah,
see it fluctuate so much from the first 25 games to the last 25 games, where players
hmm
keep going up and down.
yeah.
And the favorite at the moment is Naz Reid, but he hasn't been that impressive this year. So
I think he went scores today against the Warriors, which is hella random because he always kills the Warriors.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I remember talking about this, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, and Jeremy Grant was a really interesting one for me because I like a mixture of, like, I like a guy that's going to play some starter, or obviously play starter minutes,
yeah.
but even like have a starting role for like 20, 30 games. I'm
Hmm.
not really sure what the cutoff is necessarily in terms. I think is it just over 50%? If you play over 50% of off the bench like
Games.
that.
Yeah. I think with Grant though, I think he might not play enough games this year because
Yeah,
he's out for a bit, right?
I
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going when I mentioned that I mentioned it 6 weeks ago, and now he's
Yeah,
been injured in the last few
yeah,
weeks, and so that's going to take him out of things because he was kind of in a starting role for a short period of
yep,
time there, and then was probably going to move back to the bench.
yep.
Uh, Other than that, again, Nas is your favourite. Like Keldon Johnson is like second favourite that I'm looking up
Yeah.
here. Like that is, it's not a great list to me.
It's
Like
not.
AJ Mitchell, because I mean he's been impressive, and the Thunder are obviously the best team, so maybe he
I think,
has.
yeah, I think AJ
Like,
Mitchell was the favorite for the first 20 games, I'd say, that when they were
yeah,
going on that run, he was killing it.
yeah,
Reed Shepherd is the interesting one for me because he's genuinely impacted winning for Houston
mm,
in a lot of their clutch games.
yeah,
Whereas, I mean, Keldon's been good, don't get me wrong, and he probably has much better stats. But if you're talking winning impact, and especially for a Houston team that doesn't have a guard in their
yeah,
starting lineup, really, um, he's been excellent coming off that bench.
mm,
Again, probably not playing enough minutes as of yet because he's young, but
yeah,
if after All-Star break he gets going and they do give him 30 minutes a night, he's right up there as a six-man candidate, which will be a crazy achievement for a rookie essentially.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, we
Thank you very
finishing
much.
up.
Yep. Thank you very much for joining us. It was great to have you on. We'll,
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Always happy to chat ball with anyone. So any time you want me back on, maybe talk after the deadline, see what the Warriors get up to between now and then.
it definitely sounds good. Catch you
All right,
later.
cheers, guys.
See ya.